You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. As Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible. But you know what? I did want to go back in terms of the archives, because when you talk about you heard Congresswoman Val Demings there talk about this important deal, but I really think when you, because also here's the other piece. These are the same people who love waving the Constitution like they love waving the flag. And they always talk about the Constitution and the framers and the original intent and all of those different things. And it was Congresswoman Barbara Jordan on July 25th, 1974, during the Watergate hearings, the first black woman elected to Congress from the South since Reconstruction, who really broke down clearly the importance of a president following the Constitution. And this is what she had to say.
Recognize the gentlelady from Texas, Ms. Jordan, for the purpose of general debate, not to exceed a period of 15 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Ms. Jordan.
Mr. Chairman, I join my colleague, Mr. Rangel, in thanking you for giving the junior members of this committee the glorious opportunity of sharing the pain of this inquiry. Mr. Chairman, you are a strong man, and it has not been easy, but we have tried as best we can to give you as much assistance as possible. Earlier today, we heard the beginning of the preamble to the Constitution of the United States. We the people. It's a very eloquent beginning. But when that document was completed on the 17th of September in 1787, I was not included in that we the people. I felt somehow for many years that George Washington and Alexander Hamilton just left me out by mistake. But through the process of amendment, interpretation, and court decision, I have finally been included in we the people. Today, I am an inquisitor, and hyperbole would not be fictional and would not overstate the solemnness that I feel right now. My faith in the Constitution is whole, it is complete, it is total, and I am not going to sit here and be an idle spectator to the diminution, the subversion, the destruction of the Constitution. Who can so properly be the inquisitors for the nation as the representatives of the nation themselves? The subjects of its jurisdiction are those offenses which proceed from the misconduct of public men, and that's what we're talking about. In other words, from the abuse or violation of some public trust. It is wrong, I suggest, it is a misreading of the Constitution for any member here to assert that for a member to vote for an article of impeachment means that that member must be convinced that the president should be removed from office. The Constitution doesn't say that. The powers relating to impeachment are an essential check in the hands of the body, the legislature, against and upon the encroachments of the executive. The division between the two branches of the legislature, the House and the Senate, assigning to the one the right to accuse and to the other the right to judge. The framers of this Constitution were very astute. They did not make the accusers and the judges the same person. We know the nature of impeachment. We've been talking about it a while now. It is chiefly designed for the president and his high ministers to somehow be called into account. It is designed to bridle the executive if he engages in excesses. It is designed as a method of national inquest into the conduct of public men. The framers confided in the Congress the power, if need be, to remove the president in order to strike a delicate balance between a president swollen with power and grown tyrannical and preservation of the independence of the executive. the nature of impeachment a narrowly channeled exception to the separation of powers maxim. The Federal Convention of 1787 said that. It limited impeachment to high crimes and misdemeanors and discounted and opposed the term maladministration. It is to be used only for great misdemeanors, so it was said in the North Carolina Ratification Convention. And in the Virginia Ratification Convention, we do not trust our liberty to a particular branch. We need one branch to check the other. No one need be afraid. The North Carolina Ratification Convention, no one need be afraid that officers who commit oppression will pass with immunity. Prosecutions of impeachments will seldom fail to agitate the passions of the whole community, said Hamilton in the Federalist Papers, number 65. We divide into parties, more or less friendly or inimical to the accused. I do not mean political parties in that sense. The drawing of political lines goes to the motivation behind impeachment. But impeachment must proceed within the confines of the constitutional term high crime and misdemeanors. Of the impeachment process, it was Woodrow Wilson who said that nothing short of the grossest offenses against the plain law of the land will suffice to give them speed and effectiveness. Indignation so great as to overgrow party interest may secure a conviction, but nothing else can. Common sense would be revolted if we engaged upon this process for petty reasons. Congress has a lot to do. Appropriations, tax reform, health insurance, campaign finance reform, housing, environmental protection, energy sufficiency, mass transportation. Pettiness cannot be allowed to stand in the face of such overwhelming problems. So today we're not being petty. We're trying to be big because the task we have before us is a big one.
Greg, if I was a Democrat, I would have played that instead of me speaking.
Roland, first of all, thank you for showing that, brother. That's a lesson for all of us. Second of all, last night, as we heard Barbara Jordan, and you know us being Southerners, it's funny how these Negroes from the South somehow acquire this eloquent speech that transcends their dialect from home. Sheila Jackson Lee channeled Barbara Jordan last night.
Didn't she?
Val Demings channeled her last night. Cedric Richmond channeled last night. Even Hakeem Jeffries found his voice somewhere in the middle of today. But last night, it was the Congressional Black Caucus that channeled Barbara Jordan. But I thought it was interesting because, you know, having seen that many times, having read Barbara Jordan's words, you know, it occurred to me in that moment, that's beyond eloquence. That's an aspiration. But I don't think, I don't think that had we been included, had Native Americans, people of African descent, and women of all backgrounds been included at the beginning of this settler project we call the United States, I don't think that we would be here today with this possibility to perfect it. Why? Because it required white elite men thinking they were talking to no one other than each other to be comfortable enough to try to aspire to something that transcended. Now, why do I say that's important in 2019? As we go through Barbara Jordan, 20 years later to Bill Clinton, 25 years later to where we are now, we are in a moment now where these white men have decided that they're going to choose their whiteness over this national experiment. And what we've been witnessing today and yesterday is that the Democratic Party and the Judicial Committee, but especially the Congressional Black Caucus, and a week ago to this day, Hank, you know, Brother Johnson was sitting right there, right here on this set. They have drawn a line that Gohmert and Jordan and this fool Getz and all them have decided, we know this is a lie, but we choose our whiteness over the principles that Barbara Jordan laid out. And we are willing to let this whole thing collapse before we will let this whiteness go. And that's what's really on trial today.
You want to check out Roland Martin Unfiltered? YouTube.com/Roland S. Martin. And subscribe to our YouTube channel. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real. It's Roland Martin Unfiltered. See that name right there? Roland Martin Unfiltered. Like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications so when we go live, you'll know it.